When you hit your 60s, people start telling you a lot of things about what you can and cannot do anymore. Some will tell you that losing muscle is inevitable, that feeling weaker each year is just the way life goes, that independence slowly slips away no matter how much you fight it. But let me tell you, that is not the whole truth. Yes, aging changes the body. Yes, you do lose some muscle naturally as the years go by. But no, you do not have to surrender to it. You do not need expensive powders, fancy shakes, or supplements that cost more than your weekly grocery bill. What you need is real food, affordable food. The kind of food you probably already have in your pantry, or you can pick up at your local grocery store without stressing your budget. And that food, if you use it right, can be the key to keeping your legs strong, your balance steady, and your independence intact for decades longer than you might expect. Let's start by getting clear about what really happens after 60. The process is called sarcopenia. It is a medical term that simply means age-related muscle loss, and it starts earlier than most people realize. Around your 40s, your body begins to lose muscle mass, about 1 to 2% every single year. That does not sound like much when you hear it, but let's do the math. Imagine you are 40 years old and you have healthy muscle mass. Fast forward 30 years. By the time you are 70, if nothing changes, you could have lost up to 30% of that muscle. Think about what that means in real life. Tasks that used to be second nature now take extra effort. Standing up from a chair, carrying groceries, climbing a flight of stairs. These daily actions become harder not because you lost motivation, but because the machine that is your body has lost a chunk of its strength. Now, here is the good news. Sarcopenia is not a one-way street. Yes, it happens naturally, but it can be slowed down. It can even be reversed in many cases. The way you eat, the way you move, and the way you fuel your body each day all have a massive impact on whether you maintain strength or continue to lose it. And one of the most overlooked solutions is not high-priced supplements, but affordable protein-rich foods that you can eat daily without breaking the bank. Protein is the building block of muscle. Everyone has heard that line, but after 60, it is more important than ever. You see, as you age, your muscles become less sensitive to protein. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. It means that the same plate of food that built muscle when you were 25 or 30 no longer sends the same strong signal when you are 65. To overcome that resistance, you need to be smart. You need to eat the right kind of protein in the right amounts, spread throughout the day. If you skip breakfast or only eat a little protein at dinner, your muscles are not getting the message to repair and grow. And if that happens day after day, year after year, the decline adds up quickly. But here is where things get interesting. Research has shown that older adults who consistently hit about 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each main meal are able to preserve and even build muscle well into their 70s and 80s. That is right. Your body still has the ability to adapt, to get stronger, to stay resilient. It is never too late to start. And you do not need steaks that cost $20 a pound to do it. You do not need exotic powders or celebrity-endorsed shakes. What you need are cheap, protein-packed foods like sardines, eggs, lentils, Greek yogurt, beans, and a few others that I will break down for you. Before we dive into the foods, let's clear up another myth. A lot of people think that once you are past 60, lifting weights is the only way to maintain muscle. While resistance exercise is powerful and important, it is not the whole story. Your nutrition is just as critical, maybe even more. Think of it like this. Exercise is the signal that tells your body, hey, we need stronger muscles here. But protein is the raw material, the bricks and mortar your body uses to actually build those muscles. Without the bricks, the signal does not matter. You can go to the gym, walk, stretch, do all the right moves, but if you are not feeding your muscles the right fuel, the repairs will be weak and incomplete. That is why so many older adults work hard but still feel tired and fragile. The missing link is nutrition, specifically affordable protein. Now imagine this. You are a senior on a fixed income. You want to eat healthier, but the thought of spending hundreds on special protein powders feels impossible. Here's the beautiful part. You do not have to. Some of the best protein sources for seniors cost less than $1 per serving. They are easy to find, easy to prepare, and easy to digest. And most importantly, they come with bonus nutrients beyond protein. Nutrients that fight inflammation, protect your bones, support your heart, and even sharpen your brain. So when you choose wisely, you are not just fighting muscle loss, you are improving your whole body health. I remember speaking with an older gentleman, 72 years old, who had spent years buying expensive supplements because advertisements convinced him it was the only way to stay strong. But despite all the powders and pills, he still struggled with weakness. Then he switched to a simpler approach. He started eating cottage cheese at breakfast, sardines for lunch twice a week, and lentils and soups for dinner. Within 3 months, he noticed his energy was up, his legs felt steadier, and he could climb stairs without holding the railing. The difference was not magic. It was just consistent, affordable protein from real food that his body knew how to use. So let us set the stage. Over the next sections, we are going to talk about 10 affordable, high-protein foods that you can rely on to keep your muscles strong after 60. Each of these foods is budget-friendly, widely available, and simple to prepare. Some are animal-based, others are plant-based, and together they give you a complete toolkit to fight sarcopenia. We will also talk about how to combine them in meals, how to spread protein intake across your day, and why this simple shift can be more effective than the supplements marketed to seniors. This is not about bodybuilding. It is not about bulking up or chasing youth. This is about maintaining the strength to carry your groceries, walk with your grandchildren, garden without back pain, or get up from a chair with ease. It is about protecting your independence and your dignity. Protein is not just about muscle size. It is about quality of life. In the next part, we will start diving into the actual foods themselves, beginning with a surprising hero that comes in a small can and packs a punch for your muscles, your heart, and your bones. Great, let's roll right into the second section. And I am going to keep this in the same flowing, conversational style as if I were sitting across from you in your living room, leaning forward with a cup of coffee, and really breaking this down in a way that feels natural and easy to digest. So let's start with one of the most underrated, affordable powerhouses you can put on your table. And that is sardines. Now I know, the moment I say sardines, some people make a face. They think of the strong smell, the tiny fish with bones, and maybe a childhood memory of a parent eating them straight out of the can. But let me tell you something. If you are over 60 and serious about keeping your legs strong and fighting muscle loss, sardines are one of the best bargains you will ever find in the grocery store. For around $1 to $1.25 per can, you are getting a full meal's worth of protein, about 23 grams. And not just any protein, but complete protein, meaning it has all the essential amino acids your muscles need to repair and grow. And it does not stop there. Those little edible bones in sardines are rich in calcium, which is crucial for bone health. Think about that. You are not only feeding your muscles, but also fortifying the bones that those muscles attach to. And here's another bonus. Sardines are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. Why does that matter? Because as you age, low-grade inflammation quietly eats away at your muscle tissue. And omega-3s are like natural firefighters that help cool that down, preserving your muscle and supporting new growth. In fact, a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that older adults who ate fatty fish like sardines a couple times a week lost significantly less muscle mass over 3 years than those who rarely ate fish. That is a real, measurable difference, not some vague promise. And on top of that, they maintained better grip strength and walking speed, which are two of the strongest predictors of independence as you age. Now, maybe you are thinking, okay, but how do I eat sardines without gagging? Let me give you some ideas. You do not have to sit there and eat them plain if that is not your style. Mash them up with some avocado and lemon juice, spread that on whole grain toast, and suddenly, you have a creamy, flavorful, protein-packed breakfast or lunch. Toss them into a pasta salad with tomatoes, cucumbers, and olive oil, and the flavor mellows out beautifully. Scramble them with eggs for a breakfast that will keep you going all morning. Or blend them into a Caesar-style dressing if you want to sneak them in without even noticing. Start small, even 1 can per week, and your muscles and bones will thank you. Now, moving from sardines, let's talk about another gem, cottage cheese. Cottage cheese used to be considered old-fashioned, the kind of food your grandmother kept in the fridge. But now it is making a comeback, and for good reason. 1 cup of cottage cheese gives you about 24 grams of protein. And here is why that matters. Cottage cheese is unique because it contains 2 types of protein, casein and whey. Whey digests quickly, giving your muscles an immediate boost of amino acids right after you eat. Casein digests slowly, releasing a steady trickle of building blocks over several hours. For older adults, this combination is gold. It means your muscles are being fed now and later, covering both the quick repair and the long-haul recovery that your body needs after even light activity. And cottage cheese is not just about protein. It is also rich in calcium for bones, phosphorus for energy metabolism, and B vitamins for overall vitality. And the best part? It is versatile. You can blend it into a smoothie to make it creamier and higher in protein, mix it with fruit for a sweet snack, or use it as a base for savory dips. You can even stir it into pancake batter or baked goods to sneak in extra protein without changing the taste. And the price point, usually under $3 for a 16-ounce container, makes it one of the most cost-effective protein sources around. Now let's move on to eggs. I cannot say enough about eggs. They are truly nature's multivitamin in a shell. For just 20 cents a piece, you are getting about 7 grams of high-quality protein, and more importantly, eggs are one of the richest natural sources of leucine. Remember leucine? It is that key amino acid that flips the switch for muscle protein synthesis, the process that tells your muscles to repair and grow. Older adults need more leucine per meal to get the same muscle-building response as younger people, and eggs deliver that push. But the benefits do not stop at leucine. The yolk is packed with vitamin D, which supports both muscle function and bone strength, and choline, which helps your brain communicate with your muscles effectively. The cholesterol in eggs, which so many people feared for decades, is not the villain it was once thought to be. In fact, dietary cholesterol in eggs has only a minimal impact on blood cholesterol for most people. And here is the real kicker. The yolk is where most of the nutrition lives, so skipping it is like buying a car and leaving the engine behind. Eggs are endlessly versatile. Scramble them with vegetables, hard-boil a dozen at a time for quick grab-and-go snacks, poach them for breakfast, or bake them into frittatas. And pairing eggs with a complex carbohydrate like sweet potatoes or oats in the morning not only gives you protein, but also the steady energy your muscles need to function. Now, let's talk about Greek yogurt. Regular yogurt has its place, but Greek yogurt is a different animal. Through straining, much of the liquid whey is removed, leaving behind a thicker, creamier, and far more protein-dense product. A single serving cup, about 5 ounces, can pack 15 to 18 grams of protein, more than double that of traditional yogurt. And because it is lower in lactose, it is easier to digest for people who have trouble with dairy. Greek yogurt also contains probiotics that support gut health. And remember, a healthy gut means better absorption of nutrients across the board, including protein. Add in the calcium and potassium it provides, and you are looking at a food that supports muscle, bone, and digestion all at once. You can enjoy it sweet with berries and honey, or savory with cucumber and herbs as a dip. You can even replace sour cream in recipes with Greek yogurt to boost the protein content without changing the flavor dramatically. And the cost, often under $1 per serving when you buy larger tubs, makes it an affordable daily option. Next up are lentils, the plant-based protein powerhouse. For just pennies per serving, lentils deliver around 18 grams of protein per cup when cooked. They are loaded with fiber, which helps keep blood sugar steady, and iron, which is essential for carrying oxygen to your muscles. While lentils do not contain all 9 essential amino acids in perfect proportions, pairing them with grains like rice or quinoa creates a complete protein profile. That makes lentils a fantastic choice for vegetarians or anyone looking to reduce meat consumption without losing out on muscle-supporting nutrients. Lentils cook quickly, no soaking required, and they absorb flavors beautifully. So you can adapt them to cuisines from Mediterranean to Indian to Latin American. Toss them in soups, salads, or season them with spices for a warm side dish. Even canned lentils are a great option. Just rinse them to reduce sodium. Think about the affordability here. A bag of dried lentils might cost $1 or $2 and provide several meals worth of protein. That is unbeatable when you are looking to stretch your budget and still eat well. Now, I want to take a moment and point out something important. As you listen to these foods, notice a pattern. They are not fancy. They are not expensive. They are everyday foods that have been around forever. Sardines, cottage cheese, eggs, Greek yogurt, lentils, these are staples, not luxuries. And yet they outperform many supplements and expensive meats when it comes to supporting muscle health in older adults. This is what I mean when I say, you do not need to spend a fortune to stay strong. What you need is consistency. What you need is to make sure that at each meal, you are hitting that 25 to 30 gram protein target and that you are drawing from these affordable, nutrient-dense sources. In the next section, we will continue this journey through more protein heroes, including beans, tuna, peanut butter, chickpeas, and oats. And then we will talk about how to put them all together into a day's worth of meals that not only protect your muscles, but also keep your wallet happy. Alright, let's keep going and dive deeper into this conversation because we have covered some of the heavy hitters like sardines, cottage cheese, eggs, Greek yogurt, and lentils. But there are still more everyday heroes sitting quietly on your grocery shelf that can make a massive difference for your strength after 60. Now let's talk about beans, simple dry beans, the kind you might find in a big bag for just a couple of dollars, or canned beans that are ready to heat and eat. Beans are one of those foods that people overlook because they seem too humble, but make no mistake, they are a muscle-preserving powerhouse. A single cooked cup of beans, whether it is black beans, kidney beans, or navy beans, provides about 15 grams of protein, along with fiber, magnesium, and potassium. Why does that matter? Because fiber helps regulate your blood sugar, magnesium is critical for muscle contraction and relaxation, and potassium keeps your fluid balance steady and prevents cramps. Think about it. How many times have you or someone you know been woken up at night with a painful leg cramp? Low potassium is often the culprit. Beans help solve that. And here's the kicker. Beans are incredibly affordable. A bag of dry beans costing $2 can provide protein for several meals. If you do not want to go through the soaking process, canned beans are still a great option. Just rinse them to wash away excess sodium. Use beans in soups, salads, stews, or mash them into spreads. Pair them with rice or whole grain bread, and suddenly you have a complete protein that rivals animal protein in effectiveness. Now let's shift gears to canned tuna. Tuna is one of the most convenient sources of protein you can buy. A 5-ounce can contains about 26 grams of protein, lean, low-calorie, and easy to prepare. But here is something you should know. Not all tuna is the same. Light tuna, which usually comes from skipjack, tends to be lower in mercury than albacore tuna, making it a safer choice for older adults. Along with the protein, tuna provides selenium, an antioxidant mineral that protects muscle tissue from oxidative stress. It also offers some omega-3s, though not as much as sardines, but still enough to make a difference. Tuna is portable, shelf-stable, and versatile. Mix it with Greek yogurt instead of mayonnaise for a creamy tuna salad, add it to a vegetable stir-fry, or top a green salad for a satisfying lunch. It is hard to beat the convenience and value of canned tuna. Now here is where people are sometimes surprised. Peanut butter. Yes, peanut butter belongs in this list. For decades, it has been a staple in American pantries, often thought of as a kid's food. But for seniors, peanut butter is a cheap and effective way to add protein and healthy fats to the diet. 2 tablespoons provide about 8 grams of protein, plus magnesium and monounsaturated fats that support heart health. Spread it on whole grain toast, stir it into oatmeal, blend it into a smoothie, or even use it as a dip for apple slices. The key is to choose natural peanut butter without added sugar or hydrogenated oils. At just a few cents per serving, peanut butter is one of the easiest ways to sneak in extra protein, especially for snacks. Next up are chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans. A cup of cooked chickpeas delivers around 15 grams of protein, plenty of fiber, and folate, which is essential for making red blood cells and carrying oxygen to your muscles. They are incredibly versatile. You can roast them for a crunchy snack, toss them into salads, add them to soups, or blend them into hummus, a creamy dip that pairs beautifully with vegetables or whole grain crackers. Chickpeas are not just affordable, they are satisfying, keeping you full longer because of the protein and fiber combination. And for plant-based eaters, they are a cornerstone food. Now let's talk about oats. You might not think of oats as a protein food, but a cup of dry oats has about 6 grams of protein, and when you prepare it with milk or add Greek yogurt, nuts, or seeds, that number climbs quickly. Oats are cheap, filling, and versatile. You can cook them traditionally, make overnight oats in the fridge, bake them into muffins, or even use them in savory dishes. Beyond protein, oats provide beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that helps lower cholesterol and support heart health. And here is something important. Combining oats with another protein source at breakfast sets you up for success by giving your muscles both the fuel and the building blocks they need first thing in the morning. Now let's pause and think about what we have so far. Sardines, cottage cheese, eggs, Greek yogurt, lentils, beans, tuna, peanut butter, chickpeas, and oats. That is 10 foods, each affordable, each easy to prepare, and together they give you a complete, balanced arsenal against muscle loss. Notice how they cover both animal and plant proteins, quick and slow digesting proteins, and how many of them also bring extra benefits like calcium, omega-3s, or fiber. That is the beauty of using whole foods instead of expensive powders. You are not just getting protein, you are getting a whole package of nutrients that support aging muscles, bones, nerves, and circulation. Let me share a simple example of how you could put these foods into a single day of eating without spending a fortune. Breakfast could be 2 scrambled eggs with spinach, plus a bowl of oats topped with a spoonful of peanut butter and some blueberries. That gives you about 30 grams of protein right there. For lunch, a salad with canned tuna, chickpeas, cucumbers, tomatoes, and a spoonful of cottage cheese on the side. That is another 30 grams or more. In the afternoon, a snack of Greek yogurt with walnuts or apple slices dipped in peanut butter. That gives you an extra 15 to 20 grams. And for dinner, a lentil soup with carrots and onions, served with a slice of whole grain bread and maybe some sardines mashed with avocado on toast. That finishes your day strong, adding another 30 grams of protein. Add it all up and you are looking at well over 100 grams of protein without buying anything exotic or expensive. This is how you fight sarcopenia without draining your wallet. You do not need to eat all 10 foods every single day, but rotating them throughout the week ensures you get variety, balance, and consistency. And here's another important point. These foods are not just good for you, they are also good for the planet. Beans, lentils, oats, and chickpeas use far less water and land to produce than meat. Sardines and tuna, when sourced responsibly, are sustainable seafood options. Choosing these foods means you are supporting your health and also making choices that help the environment. That is a win-win. So the question becomes, are you ready to make the shift? Because the truth is, muscle loss is not a life sentence. You have the power to slow it, to reverse it, and to feel stronger again. No matter your age, all it takes is understanding that protein is your ally, and that some of the cheapest foods on the shelf are also the most effective tools in your fight against sarcopenia. In the next section, we're going to talk about strategies, how to make sure you are hitting that 25 to 30 grams per meal, how to combine animal and plant proteins effectively, and how to build habits that stick. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is only as good as what you do with it. And my goal is to help you not just know what to eat, but to actually put it on your plate and feel the difference in your daily life. So let's talk strategy now, because knowing the foods is one thing, but actually weaving them into your daily life in a way that sticks is what makes the difference. I want you to picture this not as a list of rules, but as a flexible toolkit. Think about your body like a house that needs daily maintenance. Every time you eat protein, you are sending in construction workers with materials to patch the roof, repair the walls, and strengthen the foundation. If those workers only show up once a day, or they arrive without the right supplies, the house slowly falls apart. That is what happens with sarcopenia. But when you send in a steady crew 3 times a day with the exact bricks and mortar they need, the house not only holds together, but gets stronger. For older adults, the magic number is 25 to 30 grams of protein at each main meal. It is not enough to hit 60 grams in one big dinner, because your muscles cannot use it all at once. They need regular doses spread throughout the day. That means breakfast, lunch, and dinner all matter equally. Most people make the mistake of skipping protein in the morning, or eating a tiny snack at lunch and then loading up at night. Flip that pattern and you will feel the difference. So how do you do that with the 10 affordable foods we just covered? Here is a simple framework. At breakfast, make protein the star, not the afterthought. Instead of just coffee and toast, try 2 eggs scrambled with spinach and a side of oats with peanut butter stirred in. That combo gives you close to 30 grams of protein before the day even gets rolling. Or maybe you like something lighter. Greek yogurt with a handful of walnuts and some blueberries can also get you near that target. The point is, you start your day telling your muscles it is time to repair, not break down. At lunch, think about combining animal and plant proteins for balance. A tuna and chickpea salad with cucumbers, tomatoes, and a spoon of cottage cheese on the side will easily give you 30 plus grams. Or go plant-based with a lentil and vegetable soup, plus a slice of whole grain bread and a topping of mashed sardines on toast. Dinner can be flexible, but the idea is to close the day strong. Maybe a bean chili with kidney beans and black beans topped with Greek yogurt instead of sour cream. Maybe an omelet with eggs, mushrooms, and cottage cheese. There are endless combinations, but the goal is the same. Hit that 25 to 30 gram mark again. Snacks are where many people stumble because they reach for chips, cookies, or other low-protein options. This is where peanut butter, Greek yogurt, or cottage cheese come in handy. Apple slices with peanut butter, Greek yogurt with fruit, or even just a hard-boiled egg can add 10 to 15 grams of protein between meals and keep your muscles supplied with steady building blocks. This is not about dieting, it is about fueling your body for independence. Now you might be wondering, what about variety? Am I supposed to eat the same things every day? The answer is no. Rotate them. Have sardines on Monday and chickpeas on Tuesday. Switch between Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. Use oats some days and beans on others. By rotating, you avoid boredom and you give your body a wide range of nutrients. Remember, these foods bring more than protein. They bring omega-3s, calcium, B vitamins, fiber, iron, probiotics. They fight inflammation, they support digestion, they protect your heart. You are not just eating for muscle, you're eating for whole body resilience. Another point worth mentioning is hydration and minerals. Protein works best when your body is well hydrated because muscle tissue is mostly water. Aim for steady fluid intake throughout the day. And foods like beans, oats, and nuts bring magnesium and potassium, which help your muscles contract and relax smoothly. That means fewer cramps, less stiffness, and better performance whether you are walking, gardening, or climbing stairs. Some people worry about digestion when they increase beans or lentils. The trick is to start gradually. Rinse canned beans well and cook dried beans thoroughly. Over time, your gut adapts and the fiber actually helps your digestion and gut health. Probiotics in Greek yogurt support this process too. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Why does all this matter? Because protein is not just about bigger muscles, it is about protecting your independence. Strong muscles mean you can carry groceries without strain. They mean you can get up from a chair without pushing with your arms. They mean you can walk confidently without worrying about balance. Studies have shown that lower body strength is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. People who can stand from a chair easily or walk briskly are more likely to live longer, healthier lives. That is what you are investing in when you choose these affordable protein foods. You are not buying powders, you are buying years of independence. There's also the environmental angle. Plant-based proteins like lentils, chickpeas, oats, and beans require far fewer resources to grow than large-scale meat production. Even sardines and tuna are relatively sustainable compared to bigger fish because they reproduce quickly. By choosing these foods, you are supporting your own health and reducing strain on the planet. It is one of those rare choices that benefits both you and the world around you. Let me give you a picture of what a week might look like if you rotate through these foods. Monday breakfast, 2 eggs with oats and peanut butter. Lunch, tuna salad with chickpeas. Dinner, lentil soup with sardines on toast. Tuesday breakfast, Greek yogurt with oats and berries. Lunch, bean chili. Dinner, cottage cheese with roasted vegetables and whole grain bread. Wednesday breakfast, scrambled eggs with spinach. Lunch, sardine and avocado sandwich. Dinner, chickpea curry with rice. And so on through the week. Each day you are hitting your protein targets. Each day you are feeding your muscles. And each day you are proving that affordable, everyday food can beat sarcopenia. The truth is, consistency beats perfection. If you miss one meal, it is not the end of the world. What matters is the pattern you create over time. Eat this way most days, and within a few weeks, you will notice changes. Less fatigue when you climb stairs, fewer cramps, more energy, steady balance. Within a few months, your doctor might notice better blood work, stronger grip strength, improved mobility. This is not hype. This is the natural response of your body when you give it the fuel it has been craving. So if you are listening to this and thinking it sounds too simple to work, that is exactly the point. Health does not need to be complicated. You do not need to order expensive powders online. You do not need a celebrity-endorsed plan. What you need is a carton of eggs, a tub of Greek yogurt, a bag of lentils, a few cans of tuna and sardines, a jar of peanut butter, and some oats. Put those in your kitchen, and you have the tools to protect your muscle and your independence. In the next section, we will talk about what happens long-term when you stick with this habit, how it lowers your risk of falls, how it speeds recovery when you get sick, how it keeps your mind sharp and your mood steady. Because protein-rich foods do not just build muscle, they support every part of your aging journey. Now, let us step back for a moment and look at the long-term picture. Because the real payoff of building your meals around these affordable protein foods does not show up just in a week or two. It compounds month after month and year after year. Think about what happens to most people over 60 who do not pay attention to protein. They slowly lose strength without even realizing it. First, it is just a little more effort to climb stairs, then they start avoiding long walks because of fatigue. Then they notice they need to use their arms to push themselves out of a chair. Eventually, simple independence begins to slip away, not because they are ill, but because their muscles no longer have the strength to support them. This is the quiet story of sarcopenia. Now imagine the opposite scenario. You start each day with protein-rich meals. You fuel your muscles with the amino acids they need. You keep your blood sugar steady with fiber-rich beans and oats. You fight inflammation with omega-3s from sardines. And you protect your bones with calcium from cottage cheese and Greek yogurt. Over time, the difference is night and day. What does this look like in real life? Instead of wobbling when you stand, you rise steadily from a chair. Instead of struggling with grocery bags, you carry them confidently. Instead of fearing a fall, you move with balance and assurance. Strong muscles literally keep you out of the hospital. Falls are one of the biggest reasons older adults end up in rehabilitation or nursing homes. And the number one protection against falls is leg strength. Protein helps build that strength. It is like an insurance policy, a daily investment that pays out in independence. You do not buy independence at the pharmacy, you build it at the dinner table. There is also the question of recovery. As we age, our bodies do not bounce back from illness or injury as quickly. A bad flu or a short hospital stay can lead to rapid muscle loss. This is why so many seniors feel weaker after being bedridden for just a week. But if you have been feeding your muscles consistently with protein, they recover faster. Studies have shown that older adults with higher protein intake heal wounds quicker, regain mobility sooner, and bounce back from surgeries with less complication. Protein is not just about everyday strength. It is about resilience when life throws challenges your way. Let's talk about energy too. Have you ever noticed that after a carb-heavy meal like white bread or sweet cereal, you feel sluggish, but after a balanced meal with protein, you feel steady and clear? That is because protein helps stabilize blood sugar. Pairing protein with fiber-rich foods like beans, lentils, or oats creates a slow release of energy instead of a spike and crash. For older adults, this steady energy is invaluable. It means you can go for that afternoon walk without feeling drained. It means you can play with your grandchildren without needing a nap right after. It means your brain has a steady supply of fuel, which sharpens focus and memory. That is another hidden benefit of these 10 foods. Many of them, like Greek yogurt, eggs, and walnuts, you might add, support brain health as much as muscle health. And let's not forget mood. People often underestimate the role of nutrition in emotional well-being. Protein provides amino acids that are precursors to neurotransmitters, the chemicals that regulate mood. Serotonin, dopamine, and others all rely on nutrients from protein-rich foods. When you eat consistently, not only does your body feel stronger, but your mood steadies as well. Many older adults report feeling calmer, more focused, and more optimistic when they maintain balanced protein intake. It is not about a miracle food. It is about giving your body what it has been designed to run on. Now you might ask, what if I cannot always hit the target? What if there are days when appetite is low or I am too busy? That is normal, and it is okay. The point is not perfection. It is consistency. Even if one meal falls short, making sure that across the week you are consistently including these foods makes a difference. And remember, smaller frequent meals work too. If 3 big meals are not comfortable, split your protein across 4 or 5 smaller ones. A hard-boiled egg mid-morning, some Greek yogurt in the afternoon, a spoonful of peanut butter with an apple. These little moments add up. Another long-term benefit of eating this way is metabolic health. Sarcopenia is tied closely to insulin resistance, the root of type 2 diabetes. When muscle mass decreases, your body has a harder time handling glucose. By maintaining muscle through protein and movement, you are also protecting your metabolic health. That means steadier blood sugar, less risk of diabetes, better cardiovascular health. Once again, you are not just fighting muscle loss, you are improving your entire health profile. I want you to picture yourself 5 or 10 years from now. Do you see yourself moving confidently, traveling, gardening, spending active time with loved ones? Or do you see yourself limited, cautious, relying on others? The difference might come down to what you put on your plate today. Choosing affordable protein-rich foods daily may feel like a small step, but compounded over years, it is the difference between a shrinking life and a vibrant one. It is the difference between dependence and independence. And remember, these foods are not exotic. We're talking about sardines, eggs, beans, oats, yogurt, cottage cheese, peanut butter, chickpeas, tuna, lentils. They are in every grocery store. They are familiar, comfortable, and affordable. This is not about changing your culture or your tastes. It is about using everyday foods smarter. Each bite is a vote for strength, for resilience, for life. So as you think about tomorrow's meals, ask yourself, how can I add protein here? Can I crack 2 eggs instead of 1? Can I stir a spoon of peanut butter into my oats? Can I swap sour cream for Greek yogurt? Can I mash sardines on whole grain toast instead of spreading butter? These little choices build habits, and habits build health. Over time, they become automatic, and the result is a stronger, steadier version of you. In the next section, we will bring all this together into a clear daily plan, showing you exactly how to structure meals and snacks, how to combine animal and plant proteins effectively, and how to make this way of eating not a diet, but a lifestyle. Because the real secret to beating sarcopenia is not found in a pill bottle or a supplement jar. It is found in the rhythm of your daily meals, repeated with consistency and care. So let's pull everything together now and talk about how you can actually live this out day by day. Because at this point you understand what sarcopenia is, you know why protein matters more after 60, you have a clear picture of 10 affordable foods that deliver serious nutrition without draining your wallet, and you see the long-term payoff. But knowledge alone does not change anything unless you turn it into action. The way you turn it into action is by creating a daily rhythm that you can follow easily without stress. Let me walk you through what that might look like in real life. Picture waking up in the morning. Instead of grabbing just coffee and a slice of toast, you start with a protein base. Maybe 2 eggs scrambled with spinach and tomatoes. That is about 14 grams of protein right there. Add a bowl of oats cooked in milk with a spoon of peanut butter stirred in, and you are adding another 15 grams. Right there at breakfast, you are already at 30 grams of protein, and you have set the tone for the day. Your muscles wake up with you, fueled and ready to repair. You feel steady energy instead of a crash 2 hours later. Now move into lunch. This is where you can bring in tuna, chickpeas, or cottage cheese. Imagine a tuna and chickpea salad tossed with olive oil, cucumbers, and tomatoes, with a scoop of cottage cheese on the side. That meal alone easily clears 30 grams of protein. It is refreshing, affordable, and does not take more than 10 minutes to prepare. Or you can go with a lentil soup, simmered with onions and carrots, paired with whole grain bread, spread with sardines and avocado. You get the idea. These are simple meals that deliver what your body needs. By the time you hit the afternoon, you want to avoid the typical slump that comes when you snack on empty carbs. Instead, reach for Greek yogurt with a handful of walnuts or apple slices dipped in peanut butter. That gives you an extra 15 to 20 grams of protein, plus healthy fats to keep your brain sharp. This is the moment when many people feel their energy dip, but if you feed your body right, you glide through the afternoon with steady focus. Dinner is your chance to close strong. Maybe you have a bean chili with black beans, kidney beans, and spices, topped with Greek yogurt instead of sour cream. Or you go with an omelet stuffed with mushrooms, cottage cheese, and a side of roasted vegetables. Add a slice of whole grain bread, and you have rounded out your protein for the day. By the time you go to bed, you have easily hit 90 to 100 grams of protein without supplements and without spending much money. Now you might be thinking, that sounds like a lot of food. But here's the truth. Older adults actually need more protein per meal than younger people because of anabolic resistance. When you were 30, you might have gotten away with 15 grams of protein at a meal. At 65, your muscles barely notice that. You need 25 to 30 grams to trigger muscle protein synthesis. That is why spreading protein evenly across meals is so important. Dumping it all into one dinner does not work. Your body cannot use it efficiently. So think in terms of balance. Each meal, each snack, an opportunity to feed your muscles. Let's also talk about variety, because that is what keeps you motivated. If you eat the same thing every day, you will get bored and stop. Rotate your proteins. One day sardines, the next day tuna, the next day lentils. Alternate between Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. Try different beans in different dishes. Play with flavors. The goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. Over weeks and months, consistency beats perfection every single time. And what about movement? Eating protein alone helps, but pairing it with even modest resistance activities supercharges the effect. You do not need to join a gym or lift heavy weights unless you want to. Simple bodyweight movements, walking, resistance bands, or gardening can be enough to tell your muscles they are still needed. Think of exercise as the signal and protein as the raw material. Together, they rebuild strength faster than either one alone. A short walk after meals also improves blood sugar control and nutrient delivery. So add movement into your rhythm in a way that feels doable. Now here is something powerful. When you eat like this and move like this consistently, you are not just protecting your muscles, you are also protecting your bones, your brain, your mood, and your metabolism. That is the synergy of real food. Sardines protect your heart, lentils stabilize your blood sugar, yogurt supports your gut, eggs feed your brain, beans lower your cholesterol. This is whole body care disguised as affordable groceries. Think of the independence it buys you. Being able to walk confidently to the store. Being able to climb stairs without holding the railing. Being able to lift your grandchild into your arms. These are not luxuries. These are the daily joys of life, and they are built on muscle. Muscle does not just keep you strong, it keeps you free. Free from needing constant help, free from fearing falls, free to live the way you want. And the fuel for that freedom is sitting in your kitchen right now in the form of eggs, beans, tuna, oats, yogurt, and more. So what I want you to take from this is simple. Build your meals around protein. Aim for that 25 to 30 grams per meal. Rotate the 10 affordable foods we talked about and add movement daily. Do it consistently and watch what happens. You will feel stronger in a few weeks, steadier in a few months, and years from now, you will be grateful you started. This is not about chasing youth, it is about investing in your future self. Every bite of protein is a brick in the foundation of your independence. In the next part, we are going to talk about the mental shift, how to change the way you see food so it becomes second nature, not a chore. Because once your mindset changes, your habits will follow. And when your habits follow, your body will reward you with strength, energy, and confidence that lasts. Here is where the mindset shift really becomes important, because most people over 60 are not struggling with a lack of knowledge. They know protein is good. They know exercise is helpful. What they struggle with is seeing these changes as something simple and doable, rather than something complicated and burdensome. You have to change the way you look at food, not as calories to avoid or meals to just get through, but as building blocks for the life you want to live. When you crack 2 eggs in the morning, you are not just making breakfast, you are investing in the strength to get out of a chair with ease. When you open a can of sardines, you are not just having lunch, you are fueling the balance you need to walk confidently without a cane. When you scoop Greek yogurt into a bowl, you are not just having a snack, you are laying down the foundation for memory, focus, and energy. Food becomes medicine when you see it this way. And when you start looking at these 10 affordable protein foods as tools rather than chores, you will naturally begin to build them into your day. It is not about perfection. It is about making the next meal count. If yesterday was not ideal, today is a new chance. Every meal is a new opportunity to feed your muscles and preserve your independence. And here is something else to think about. Many people at this age believe it is too late, that once strength is lost, it cannot be regained. That belief is flat out wrong. Studies show that even people in their 80s and 90s can build new muscle when they eat enough protein and do simple resistance exercises. Your body does not stop responding just because of age. The response is slower, it requires more consistency, but the potential is still there. Think about that. No matter your age, your body still wants to adapt, to get stronger, to heal. All it needs is the right signal and the right fuel. That should give you hope, because it means you are never too old to benefit from change. Now let's talk about habits, because long-term success comes from habits, not willpower. Willpower fades, but habits stick. So how do you make protein a habit? Start by planning your meals around it. Instead of asking, what do I want for dinner? Ask, what protein am I going to build this meal around? Maybe it is tuna, maybe it is beans, maybe it is eggs. Once you have that answer, the rest of the meal falls into place. Another trick is to keep these foods visible and ready. Hard boil a dozen eggs at the start of the week and keep them in the fridge. Cook a pot of lentils or beans and store them in containers. Keep cans of sardines and tuna in your pantry. Buy a big tub of Greek yogurt so it is always on hand. When protein is easy to grab, you will eat more of it without even thinking. That is how habits form. There is also the social side of eating. Share meals with friends or family. Show them how simple and delicious these foods can be. Make a big pot of bean chili for the whole family. Serve hummus with vegetables at a gathering. Mix sardines into pasta when guests come over. When you make it social, food becomes enjoyable, and when it is enjoyable, it sticks. Aging should not mean eating bland or boring meals. It should mean enjoying simple foods that make you feel good and keep you strong. Let's talk about mindset in another way too. The difference between scarcity and abundance. Many older adults approach health with a mindset of cutting back, avoiding, restricting. But strength does not come from restriction. It comes from abundance, from giving your body what it truly needs. Instead of saying, I cannot eat this or that, start saying, I get to eat these powerful foods that fuel my body. I get to enjoy eggs, beans, yogurt, peanut butter, oats. I get to feel stronger each week. That shift from restriction to nourishment changes everything. It makes the process positive rather than punishing. Now think about the ripple effect. When you feel stronger, you move more. When you move more, your mood improves. When your mood improves, you sleep better. When you sleep better, you recover more. It is a cycle, a positive loop that all starts with protein and movement. I have seen this again and again with older adults who make the change. They start with food. Within a few weeks, they feel more energy. Then they begin walking more. Then they notice less stiffness. Then they start smiling more. And suddenly their whole life feels lighter. That is the hidden power of nutrition. It changes not only your body, but your entire experience of life. And here is something very practical. If you want to build a 30-day plan, just start with 3 commitments. 1. Include 25 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 2. Move your body against resistance at least 3 times per week, even if it is just squats from a chair or resistance bands. 3. Stay hydrated and include mineral-rich foods like beans, nuts, and leafy greens. That is it. Do that for 30 days and notice the difference. Write down how you feel each week. Track your energy, your balance, your sleep. You will see changes that will motivate you to keep going. The truth is, the fountain of youth is not hidden in a supplement jar or a fancy clinic. It is sitting on your kitchen table. It is in a can of sardines, a carton of eggs, a bag of lentils, a tub of yogurt. It is in the habits you build around those foods. Aging is not about decline, it is about adaptation. And the best adaptation you can make is to fuel your body with affordable protein that keeps you strong. In the next section, we will bring this to a close by summarizing the key takeaways and giving you a challenge to try these foods consistently for just 1 week and see the results for yourself. Because once you feel the difference in your own body, you will never go back. So here we are at the point where it all comes together, and I want you to really imagine yourself putting this into practice, not just listening and nodding along, but actually seeing what your next week looks like if you decide to make these changes. Because one of the biggest mistakes people make when they hear health advice is they say, "That sounds good. I should do that someday." And then life gets busy, old habits take over, and nothing really changes. I do not want that for you. I want you to actually feel the difference that affordable protein can make. And the only way to feel it is to try it. So let me lay out a very simple 7-day challenge for you. Something that requires no special products, no complicated recipes, just the foods we have already talked about and the consistency to follow through. Day 1. Start your morning with 2 scrambled eggs and a side of oats cooked with milk and a spoonful of peanut butter. For lunch, have a tuna and chickpea salad with cucumbers and olive oil. Snack on Greek yogurt with a few walnuts. Dinner, make a lentil and vegetable soup with a slice of whole grain bread and sardines mashed with avocado on top. That is a full day of balanced protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Day 2, maybe you switch it up. Breakfast could be cottage cheese mixed with berries and a sprinkle of oats. Lunch could be a black bean chili topped with Greek yogurt instead of sour cream. Afternoon snack, apple slices with peanut butter. Dinner, an omelet made with eggs, spinach, mushrooms, and a side of roasted chickpeas. Again, you are hitting all your protein needs without spending much money. Day 3. Greek yogurt with oats and blueberries for breakfast, sardine toast with tomato slices for lunch, cottage cheese with pineapple as a snack, lentil curry with rice for dinner. Day 4. Scrambled eggs and toast with peanut butter for breakfast, chickpea salad sandwich for lunch, tuna and bean stir-fry for dinner, and Greek yogurt for dessert, and so on. You can rotate these foods endlessly, mix and match, and keep things interesting. Now here is the challenge I want you to accept. Do this for 7 days straight. Do not worry about being perfect. Just aim to have one of these 10 foods at every meal, and make sure each meal has at least 25 grams of protein. At the end of the week, check in with yourself. How do your legs feel when you climb stairs? How steady do you feel when you stand up from a chair? How is your energy in the afternoon compared to before? How is your mood? I guarantee you will notice a difference. It may not be dramatic like flipping a switch, but it will be noticeable. And once you feel that, you will realize this is not just theory. It is real, it works, and it is worth continuing. The beauty of this approach is that it is not just a week-long plan. It is a lifestyle you can carry forward. You can keep rotating these foods every week, trying new recipes, adding variety, but always hitting your protein target. It becomes second nature. And over months and years, it builds a body that is resilient, strong, and capable. This is how you fight sarcopenia. Not with expensive supplements, not with miracle promises, but with consistent choices at the grocery store and in your kitchen. And let me remind you again, this is not about getting bulky or looking like a bodybuilder. This is about having the strength to carry your grandchild, to garden without back pain, to walk without fear of falling, to live independently. Those are the wins that matter at this stage of life. That is the freedom protein buys you. So here is my final word for this section. Do not wait. Go to your kitchen, look at what you already have. Maybe there are eggs in the fridge, maybe a can of tuna in the pantry, maybe a tub of yogurt. Start with what you have. Add one of these foods to your next meal. Then go to the store and stock up on a few more. Hard boil some eggs, cook a pot of lentils, buy a few cans of sardines. Make it easy for yourself. The easier it is, the more likely you are to stick with it. And once you stick with it, the benefits will speak for themselves. In the next part, I'm going to share some stories and examples from people who have actually done this. Real seniors who replaced expensive supplements with affordable protein foods and saw their strength, energy, and independence improve. Because sometimes hearing the science is good, but hearing the stories of people like you is even more powerful. I want to share with you some real stories now, because sometimes numbers and studies feel distant. But when you hear what happened to real people who made these simple changes, it becomes personal and it becomes inspiring. One woman I spoke with, her name is Margaret. She is 71 and had been feeling weaker every year. She told me she used to love walking her dog around the neighborhood, but lately she had to cut the walk short because her legs felt heavy and her balance felt unsteady. She had been drinking expensive protein shakes recommended by a friend, but they upset her stomach and she was spending nearly $60 a month on them. When I explained to her that she could simply eat real protein-rich foods like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and beans, she decided to give it a try. Within 6 weeks, she noticed a huge difference. She was back to walking the full route with her dog, and she told me she even felt confident enough to go back to her weekly dance class at the community center. The shakes had not given her that, but the real food did. Then there is Robert, a retired mechanic in his late 60s. He always believed meat was the only way to get protein, but the rising prices made it harder to keep steak and chicken in his regular rotation. When he learned about lentils and chickpeas, he was skeptical. He said, "I am not a bean guy." But after his wife made a pot of lentil soup with carrots and onions, he realized it was delicious and filling. They began adding beans and lentils into their meals 2 or 3 times a week, and he paired them with tuna or sardines when he wanted more variety. Over time, not only did his strength improve, but his cholesterol numbers improved as well. His doctor told him to keep doing whatever he was doing, and Robert laughed because it was just beans and sardines, nothing fancy, nothing expensive. And then there is Linda, 68, who had been avoiding eggs for years because she was worried about cholesterol. She ate a very carb-heavy breakfast most mornings, usually cereal or toast with jam. She often felt tired by mid-morning and had to take a nap. When she learned that eggs were not the villain she had been told they were, She started eating 2 scrambled eggs with spinach most mornings, sometimes pairing them with oats and a spoon of peanut butter. Within a month, she felt more energized in the mornings. She stopped needing that mid-morning nap, and she even started going on short hikes with her granddaughter. She said it felt like she had rediscovered mornings again. What these stories show is that change does not have to be dramatic or complicated. It can be as simple as swapping sugary cereal for eggs, swapping expensive shakes for cottage cheese and Greek yogurt, or adding lentils and beans into your weekly routine. These are real foods, real results, real independence gained back. And I want to emphasize something here. These people did not change everything about their lives. They did not suddenly become athletes. They did not join a gym. They did not spend more money than before. They simply added affordable protein foods consistently, and the body responded. That is the power of nutrition. That is the power of choosing foods that work with your biology instead of against it. Now I want you to imagine your own story. Imagine yourself 3 months from now after eating this way. What does your day look like? Do you wake up with more energy? Do you walk more confidently across the room? Do you carry groceries without strain? Imagine the pride in telling your doctor that you feel stronger, that your balance has improved, that your independence feels secure. Imagine the joy of playing with grandchildren or working in the garden without fatigue. That can be your story if you make these foods part of your life. And remember, this is not about restriction or giving up foods you love. You can still enjoy your favorites, but what we are doing is building a strong foundation. When you base your meals around these 10 protein-rich foods, you give yourself the structure to stay strong. Everything else becomes a bonus. And once you see how good you feel, you might naturally start choosing better options, because your body will crave that strength. So here's my challenge for you right now. Write down your plan. Do not just think about it. Write it down. Decide which protein food you will eat for breakfast tomorrow, which one for lunch, which one for dinner. Keep it simple. Put eggs on your list for breakfast, tuna or beans for lunch, cottage cheese or lentils for dinner. Having a written plan makes it real, it makes it easier to follow, and when you follow it, you will feel the results. In the next section, we are going to dig into what happens when you face obstacles, because let's be honest, life does not always go smoothly. There will be days when you do not feel like cooking, days when your appetite is low, or days when you are traveling. I will show you how to stick with this approach even when things get tough, so that nothing stands in the way of your strength and independence. Let's get real about obstacles, because no matter how motivated you are right now, there will be days when things do not go as planned. That is just life. Maybe you wake up and your appetite is low. Maybe you have a busy day running errands and you do not have time to cook. Maybe you are traveling and your choices are limited to what is available on the road. These are the moments that often break a new habit, but if you plan ahead, you can move through them without losing momentum. The first obstacle is appetite. Many older adults notice that they simply do not feel as hungry as they used to, especially in the morning. But this is exactly when your body needs protein the most. After a night of fasting, your muscles are waiting for fuel. If eating a full breakfast feels like too much, start small. A cup of Greek yogurt with a spoonful of peanut butter stirred in, or a hard-boiled egg with a piece of fruit. That is enough to trigger muscle protein synthesis without overwhelming your stomach. Over time, your appetite often adjusts, but even if it does not, small consistent doses of protein still work. The second obstacle is convenience. It is one thing to talk about lentils and beans when you have time to cook, but what about days when you do not? This is where canned foods become your best friend. Keep canned tuna, canned sardines, and canned beans in your pantry. They last for months, they require no cooking, and they can be turned into a meal in minutes. Open a can of tuna, Mix it with Greek yogurt, spread it on whole grain bread, and you have a balanced meal. Rinse canned beans, toss them in a salad with olive oil and vinegar, and you are good to go. Convenience does not have to mean unhealthy. With a little planning, you can always have a high-protein option ready. The third obstacle is travel. Whether it is a road trip, a flight, or just a long day out, being away from home often leads to grabbing whatever is quick and available. The trick here is to pack protein with you. Hard-boiled eggs travel well, peanut butter packets are easy to carry, and even a small bag of roasted chickpeas or nuts can make a difference. When you stop for food, look for protein first. A grilled chicken sandwich, a Greek yogurt cup at a gas station, or even a bean burrito can work. The goal is not perfection, it is progress. If you keep protein in mind, you can find it almost anywhere. Another obstacle is cost, and you might be thinking, yes, these foods are affordable, but groceries in general are more expensive these days. That is true, but let's compare. A single tub of protein powder can cost $40 to $50 and last only a few weeks. That same money could buy dozens of eggs, several cans of tuna, bags of lentils, beans, oats, and yogurt to last you much longer. When you break it down per serving, these 10 foods we have discussed almost always cost less than 50 cents per protein serving. That is incredible value for what they give you. So rather than thinking about the total grocery bill, think about the protein cost per meal. You will see just how affordable real food is compared to supplements. Then there is the mental obstacle, the belief that it is too late or that small changes do not matter. This is one of the most damaging obstacles because it stops people before they even start. I want to be clear, it is never too late. Even if you are 70, 80, or beyond, your body still responds to protein. Your muscles still repair and grow. Every extra step you take, every protein-rich meal you eat, is a deposit in your strength bank, and those deposits add up. Do not let the thought of age stop you from starting. The only time it is too late is if you decide to give up. The last obstacle I want to touch on is boredom. Eating the same thing day after day gets old fast. That is why variety matters. Rotate your proteins. Scramble eggs one day, make an omelet the next. Have sardines on toast one day, tuna salad the next. Cook lentil soup one week, bean chili the next. Mix sweet and savory with Greek yogurt, sometimes with fruit, sometimes with cucumbers and herbs. Keep it fresh, keep it fun. Food should be enjoyed, not endured. When you enjoy it, you stick with it. And when you stick with it, the results come naturally. So yes, obstacles will come, but every obstacle has a solution. The key is not to aim for perfect conditions. It is to prepare for the imperfect. When you know that appetite, convenience, travel, cost, mindset, and boredom are going to show up, you can plan around them. That way, nothing stops you from getting your protein, from feeding your muscles, and from protecting your independence. In the next section, I want to bring this whole journey full circle. We will recap what you have learned, the foods, the strategies, the long-term benefits, and I will leave you with a clear, simple challenge that you can start today. Because the truth is, you already have everything you need to fight sarcopenia. It is not about discovering something new. It is about using what you already have in a smarter, more consistent way. And when you do, you will see that strength, energy, and independence are not behind you. They are still right in front of you. Let's bring everything together now, because we have gone step by step through what sarcopenia is, why it happens, how affordable protein-rich foods can fight it, and what strategies you can use to make sure you are actually getting enough every single day. At this point, you might be feeling motivated, but also maybe a little overwhelmed, thinking about all the details, the grams of protein, the meal planning, the shopping lists. Let me simplify it for you. What you really need to remember are 3 things. First, you need around 25 to 30 grams of protein at each main meal. Second, you can easily get that from everyday cheap foods like eggs, beans, tuna, sardines, cottage cheese, yogurt, oats, lentils, peanut butter, and chickpeas. Third, consistency matters more than perfection. That is it. If you hold on to those 3 points, you already have what you need. Now let's recap those 10 foods one last time, but think about them not as items on a list, but as allies. As friends you can call on any time. Eggs are your starter friend, quick, versatile, and powerful. Sardines are your secret weapon, tiny but mighty, packed with protein, calcium, and omega-3s. Cottage cheese is the steady companion, slowly feeding your muscles for hours. Greek yogurt is the gut helper, making digestion smoother while still hitting your protein target. Lentils are the budget hero, pennies per serving, but packed with nutrients. Beans are the reliable standby, always affordable, always filling. Tuna is the traveler, easy to carry, easy to prepare, always ready. Peanut butter is the snack saver, simple and satisfying. Chickpeas are the flexible player. They can be crunchy, creamy, or hearty, depending on what you want. And oats are the morning booster, setting you up for stable energy and a solid base of nutrition. Together, they form a team that can take on sarcopenia day after day without letting you down. Think about how empowering it is to know that you do not need to rely on anything complicated. The grocery aisle that you have walked past for years already holds your solution. The cans stacked neatly on the shelf, the cartons in the fridge, the bags in the dry goods aisle, they are not just random groceries. They are the tools that can keep your legs strong, your balance steady, and your life independent. That is the mental shift. To start seeing food not as something ordinary, but as something extraordinary when chosen wisely. And here is where the real challenge begins. I want you to commit to a 7-day trial. For the next 7 days, every meal you eat should include one or more of these 10 foods, and every meal should hit that 25 to 30 gram protein goal. It does not need to be fancy. It does not need to look like a magazine recipe. Just make it simple, make it doable. Eggs in the morning, tuna at lunch, beans or lentils at dinner, yogurt or cottage cheese as a snack. Write it down if you need to. Plan it out the night before. When you hit that 7-day mark, check in with yourself. Notice how your body feels. Notice how your energy feels in the afternoon. Notice your sleep, your mood, your strength when you climb stairs or stand up from a chair. I promise you will notice changes. And once you notice those changes, you will realize this is not just about food. It is about life. It is about choosing to fight back against the slow decline that many people accept as normal aging. It is about proving to yourself that independence is something you can protect. It is about showing your family that you are not giving up, that you are investing in more years of active living. The beautiful part is you are doing it without stress, without financial strain, and without gimmicks. So as we close this journey, here is my invitation. Open your fridge, open your pantry, and look for your allies. Maybe you already have some eggs sitting there. Maybe there's a jar of peanut butter. Maybe you have a can of beans or tuna on the shelf. Start with what you have, add what you need, and begin. There is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. Take this knowledge, turn it into action, and in just a week, you will begin to feel what thousands of others have already discovered, that affordable protein foods are not just a way to eat. They are a way to live stronger, longer, and more freely. And if you ever feel doubt creeping in, remember this. Your body still wants to grow stronger. Even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, it still listens. It still responds, and it still rewards consistency. Every meal is a chance to remind your body that you are not done, that you still have strength to build and life to live. And all it takes is the choice to pick up these 10 foods, put them on your plate, and eat them with the knowledge that you are fueling a stronger tomorrow. I want you to imagine what your life could feel like 6 months from today if you actually follow through with what we have been talking about. Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself waking up in the morning. Instead of groaning as you swing your legs out of bed, you feel steady, you feel capable. You stand without hesitation, your balance feels strong, your legs do not wobble. You walk into the kitchen, crack a couple of eggs into the pan, stir a spoon of peanut butter into your oats, and you know that simple breakfast is not just food, it is medicine, it is fuel, it is your armor against weakness. Later that morning, you head out for a walk around the block, and instead of feeling winded halfway, you notice your stride is smoother, your breath steadier. You smile because you realize this is different than a few months ago. This is progress. Fast forward to lunchtime, you open a can of tuna, mix it with chickpeas, some olive oil, maybe a few chopped vegetables, and in less than 10 minutes you have a protein-packed meal that leaves you satisfied but not sluggish. You finish eating, and instead of needing a nap, you feel like tackling the rest of your day. Maybe you do some gardening, maybe you run errands, maybe you play with your grandkids. All of it feels easier because your body has the fuel it needs. By dinner time, you are still steady, still energized. You simmer a pot of lentil soup, you mash sardines onto toast, or you build a bowl with beans, rice, and vegetables. As you eat, you realize this is not hard, it is not expensive, and it is not complicated. It is just food, real food, the kind that has been around forever, now working in your favor to keep you strong. And then when you go to bed that night, you notice something else. Your sleep is deeper. Why? Because protein and minerals like magnesium and potassium from these foods help your muscles relax and recover while you sleep. You wake up the next morning and the cycle continues. Each day a little easier, a little steadier, a little stronger. Multiply that by 6 months and you begin to understand what is possible. Think about the ripple effect into every area of your life. When your body is stronger, your mood improves. You feel more confident, less anxious about falls, less frustrated with fatigue. When your mood improves, your relationships improve. You enjoy time with family. You laugh more. You participate more. When your relationships improve, your whole outlook on aging changes. You no longer see it as decline. You see it as adaptation, as growth, as a chance to live well with the years you are given. And all of that starts with the simple choice to put affordable protein on your plate every single day. I cannot stress this enough. Consistency is the secret. It is not about trying for a week and stopping. It's about creating a rhythm. It becomes part of who you are. Just like brushing your teeth or drinking water, eating protein becomes automatic. And when it becomes automatic, you no longer have to think so hard. You just live it. And your body thanks you. I know there will be voices in your head, or even people around you, who say it is too late, or it is too simple to matter, or you need something more complicated to really work. Ignore those voices. They are wrong. Science is on your side. Real stories from real people are on your side, and your own experience will soon be on your side too. You will prove to yourself that this works the moment you notice your legs feel stronger climbing stairs, or when you realize you no longer need to grip the railing so tightly, or when you notice you can carry groceries with less effort. Those small victories are signs that your investment is paying off. So as we close this chapter, I want you to carry this one thought with you. You have more control than you think. Aging is not something that just happens to you. It is something you can influence every single day with the choices you make. You cannot stop time, but you can decide how your body responds to it. By choosing eggs instead of sugary cereal, beans instead of chips, yogurt instead of ice cream, tuna instead of processed meat, you are choosing strength, energy, and independence. You are choosing life. And the beauty is, this is not a short-term fix. This is a lifelong strategy that only gets more powerful the longer you do it. The sooner you start, the sooner you feel better, and the longer you keep it up, the stronger you stay. That is the gift of affordable protein. It is not glamorous, it is not flashy, but it is real. It is proven, and it is waiting for you right now in your kitchen. So here's what we can do starting today. Do not overthink it. Do not make it complicated. Just pick one of these 10 foods and make sure it shows up on your plate at least once a day. Maybe it's eggs in the morning, maybe it's tuna at lunch, maybe it's lentils for dinner. Start small, stay consistent, and let your body feel the difference. After a week, check in with yourself. Notice how you walk, notice how you stand, notice your energy in the afternoon. That's your body telling you it works. If you want to keep it simple, here's the formula I recommend. Build each meal around protein first, fill in with vegetables and whole grains, and rotate the foods so you don't get bored. That's it. No powders, no gimmicks, just real food fueling a stronger you. And I want to encourage you, don't wait for a perfect Monday. Don't wait until you feel ready. The perfect time is now. The perfect meal is the next one you eat. So grab what you have, cook it, eat it, and know that with every bite you are choosing strength, balance, and independence. Try it for 7 days. Share your experience with someone you care about. Maybe even invite them to do it with you. Because the truth is, these small choices stack up and they can change your future.